Imagine walking into a house where everything shines, but nothing feels alive. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, golden frames lining the walls. And in the middle of it all, a little boy in a hospital bed. That was the first thing Sophia saw. She clutched the strap of her old, faded bag as the butler, John, led her through the hallway. Her shoes were still dusty from the bus ride. The heels of the rich guests clicked like tiny hammers on marble. Her steps were soft, careful, almost apologetic. "Don't stare," John murmured. "Mr. Robert doesn't like staff gawking." Robert King, billionaire, hotels, jets. His name was on magazines, on buildings, on charity galas for children with cancer. Today, Sophia would work inside his house, caring for his only son. They stopped at a set of heavy glass doors. Inside, the room looked more like a private clinic than a child's bedroom. Machines hummed. A drip stand stood like a cold metal tree beside the bed. The air smelled of disinfectant and something sharp, like alcohol. On the bed lay Michael, 10 years old, skin pale as paper. A scarf wrapped around his bald head. Big brown eyes that looked too old for his small face. "Born with leukemia," John whispered, as if the walls were listening. "Doctors say he's a miracle for still being alive." Sophia stepped closer. "Hi, Michael," she said softly. His eyes moved slowly to her. "You're the new maid," he said. His voice was thin, but steady. "Yes." She smiled. "My name is Sophia. I'll be helping you, if that's okay." He didn't smile back. "They never stay," he replied. "Maid, nurse, nanny, they all leave." The words hung in the air like dust in the sunlight. From the doorway, a sharp voice cut in. "Michael, don't tire yourself." Evelyn, the head housekeeper, walked in. Perfect bun. Perfect uniform. Cold eyes that scanned Sophia from head to toe. "So, you're the replacement," Evelyn said. "Remember your place. You are staff. You take orders. You don't give opinions. Especially about medical things." Her gaze dropped to Sophia's worn shoes, then to Michael's machines. "Mr. King is paying the best doctors in the country. Poor girls with big eyes and bigger dreams don't know more than them." It stung. But Sophia stayed quiet. Still, something felt wrong. She watched Michael's hands. No tremors. No weakness. He gripped the bed rail tightly. His eyes were bright, not cloudy. His breath was calm, not labored. He didn't look like the children she'd seen in the public hospital back in her neighborhood. The ones actually dying. The ones whose parents couldn't pay. A tiny chill crawled up her spine. Later that night, when the mansion fell silent and the city lights shimmered beyond the glass walls, Sophia stood at the doorway of Michael's room and just listened. The machines beeped in a slow, steady rhythm. His chest rose and fell, peaceful. But his fingers tapped. Lightly, restlessly, like a boy desperate to run. What was she missing? Why did a child born with leukemia look like someone being forced to act sick? Sophia didn't know it yet. But the answer to that question would shatter Robert King's perfect world. And the first crack was already forming. Morning in the King mansion sounded like money. Engines of luxury cars in the driveway. Heels clicking. Phones ringing. Staff whispering. Orders, demands, schedules. Everything fast. Efficient. Clinical. But around Michael, time moved differently. Sophia walked in with a tray. Warm oatmeal. Fresh juice. Pills in a tiny white cup. The sunlight spilled over the bed, touching his face like a gentle hand. "Good morning, Michael," she said. "I brought your breakfast." He glanced at the tray, then at the pills. "I'm not hungry," he muttered. From the corner of the room, Emma, the private nurse, looked up from her tablet. Designer watch. Perfect makeup. She barely glanced at Sophia. "He has to take his meds," Emma said sharply. That's what Dr. Harris ordered. You just follow the chart. It's color-coded so even you can understand it. Even you. It landed like a slap. Sophia lowered her eyes. Yes, ma'am. She picked up the cup, her fingers brushing the cool ceramic. Do they make you feel better? She asked Michael quietly. He shrugged. They make me sleepy. Sometimes my bones hurt. Sometimes my head gets heavy. Don't put ideas in his head, Emma snapped. He's a leukemia patient, not a healthy boy who can run around your village. Rich laughter echoed from the hallway. Men in suits. Women in diamonds. A charity brunch was happening downstairs. Banners with Michael's face on them. Help us fight childhood leukemia. Money was being raised in his name, while he sat alone upstairs. Open your mouth, Michael, Emma ordered, her tone flat. He obeyed. He always obeyed. But Sophia noticed something. The way his eyes flinched right before the pill touched his tongue. The way his hand gripped the blanket. The way he stared at the glass of juice like it was the enemy. She felt a twist in her chest. Back home, in the crowded clinic near her tiny rented room, she had seen sick children beg for medicine. Here, a child looked afraid of it. Can I have water instead of juice? Michael asked. No, Emma said. The doctor said juice helps it go down easier. Why only juice? Why that exact bottle, with the label peeled off? Sophia's fingers brushed the bottle as she cleared the tray. The sticky rim. The faint chemical smell under the sweetness of orange. In the hallway, she almost collided with Evelyn. Watch where you're going, Evelyn snapped. These floors cost more than your entire family's lifetime earnings. Sophia murmured, sorry. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. And stop lingering around the boy. Do your job, not whatever it is you're trying to do. You're paid to clean, feed, assist. Not think. Not think. Have you ever been in a room where everyone acts like they're better than you, just because they have more money? That's what this house felt like for Sophia. But while they looked down on her, she was the only one looking closely at Michael. And the closer she looked, the more one terrifying thought pressed against her mind. What if the thing that was supposed to keep him alive was the very thing slowly destroying him? That night, the storm came. Rain lashed against the glass walls. Thunder rolled over the city. The mansion lights glowed warm and golden, a fortress against the dark. Inside Michael's room, the TV played softly. Cartoon colors flickered over his tired face. Do you ever go outside? Sophia asked, folding fresh sheets. No, Michael answered. Dad says the world is dangerous for someone like me. Too many germs. Too much risk. But you used to go. He hesitated. Before Dr. Harris came, he whispered. Before the new treatments. Before the cameras. Sophia glanced up. In the ceiling corner, a tiny red light blinked. A security camera. Watching everything. What happens if you don't take your pills? She asked gently. Michael turned his head, eyes darting to the door. Emma gets angry. Dad gets scared. Dr. Harris says I could die. His voice trembled on the last word. Die. Sophia's throat tightened. She remembered a little girl from her neighborhood. Real leukemia. Thin as air. Pale lips. Eyes sunken. Her parents sold their house to afford 3 rounds of chemo. They cried over every pill she didn't have. Here, there was too much medicine. Too many pills. Too many rules. And beneath it all, too much fear. Michael, Sophia whispered, leaning closer. Can I tell you a secret? He nodded, eyes wide. I don't think you're as weak as they say. He blinked. What do you mean? You sat up on your own today. You moved your legs easily. Your hands don't shake. Your breathing is strong. He swallowed hard. But they say I'm dying. Sophia looked at the chart on the wall. times. Doses. Strict. Her heart pounded. Then she did something that every rule in that mansion told her not to do. When the clock hit pill time, she accidentally dropped the white tablet on the floor. "Oh no," she gasped softly. It slipped. Emma was busy on a video call in the hallway. Evelyn was downstairs, hovering around Robert's guests. No one saw. Sophia picked up the pill, walked to the trash bin, and hid it deep inside a tissue. "Don't say anything," she whispered to Michael. His eyes grew huge. "What if I die?" She knelt by his bed, her voice firm for the first time. "Then why is your heart beating stronger than mine?" she asked. "Why do your eyes look clearer every time I see you? Tell me the truth. Do you always feel sick, or just after the medicine?" He took a shaky breath. "Mostly after the medicine," he said. "Before that, I just feel normal. But everyone looks at me like I'm broken, so I try to act broken." Those words hit her like a punch. Upstairs, a boy was acting sick to match everyone's expectations. Downstairs, rich people were clinking glasses, raising money for his fight. The storm roared louder outside. For the first time since she arrived, Sophia wasn't just uncomfortable. She was scared. What if she was right? What if skipping one pill made him feel better, and proved something none of them wanted to believe? And if she was right, would they listen to a maid? Or would they destroy her to protect their rich, perfect lie? Morning came with a surprise. Michael was awake before his alarm. Sitting up, eyes bright. "Sophia," he whispered as she walked in. "I feel good. Not less bad. Not less tired. Good." She hid the rush of relief in her chest. "Any pain?" He shook his head. "No. My legs don't hurt today." Sophia's heart raced. One missed pill. One small act of rebellion. And the difference was visible. But proof inside a mansion like this had to be more than, "He says he feels better." Rich people liked papers. Numbers. Reports with stamps. "Michael," she said carefully, "do you trust me?" He hesitated. "You're the only one who talks to me, like I'm a person, not a project." "I need a favor," she said. "And I need you to be brave." She called John later that day, catching him by the staff entrance. Rain still clung to his jacket. "John," she said, lowering her voice, "do you know anyone at a public hospital?" He frowned. "Why?" "I need Michael's blood tested." Quietly. "Without Dr. Harris. Without the private clinic." John stared at her like she had lost her mind. "Do you know how insane that sounds? This is Robert King. People bow when he enters a room. You're a maid." "I know who I am," she said, her jaw tightening. "But I know what I'm seeing. Michael looks more drugged than sick. Please. If I'm wrong, I'll quit myself. If I'm right." He looked at her eyes and saw something that no paycheck could buy. Conviction. "My cousin works at City General," he muttered. "Night shift. They owe me a favor." That night, they moved like shadows. Sophia wrapped Michael in a hoodie and cap. John pretended to drive a staff member to the pharmacy. The mansion cameras caught only a boy-shaped blur beside a maid in a plain black coat. City General smelled like antiseptic and boiled rice. Crying children. Tired parents. This was the world Sophia knew. In a tiny lab, John's cousin, Evelyn, a different Evelyn, with tired eyes and ink-stained fingers, took Michael's blood. No full name. No private clinic history. Just results, Sophia requested. Evelyn looked at Michael's clear eyes. "He doesn't look leukemic to me," she murmured. "But I'll let the numbers talk." They waited in a hard plastic chair. Michael's hand slipped into Sophia's. "Am I going to be in trouble?" he asked. "Probably," she said honestly. "Rich people don't like it when the poor ask questions." "Then why are we doing this?" "Because your life is worth more than their comfort." Have you ever done something knowing it could cost you everything, but not doing it would cost someone else even more? The printer spat out paper. Evelyn read it. Her brows drew together. This can't be right, she whispered. Hemoglobin, okay. White cells, normal. Platelets, normal. This does not look like leukemia. Not even close. Sophia's stomach flipped. Are you sure? I can run it again, Evelyn said. But if this is the same boy your fancy clinic says is terminal, someone is lying. On the drive back, the city lights blurred past the windows. Michael stared at his hands. If I'm not sick, he said slowly, why do they keep treating me like I am? Sophia looked up at the King mansion growing larger in the windshield. Maybe, she said quietly, because your sickness is making a lot of people very rich. One question now burned hotter than all the others. When the truth slammed into Robert King's world, would he protect his son? Or protect his reputation? The confrontation began with a lie. Mr. King, we need to talk about your son's treatment, Sophia said, standing in the doorway of his private office. Robert didn't even look up at first. His fingers flew over the keyboard. Stock charts on one screen. News headlines on another. His suit perfect. His patience thin. Staff should go through Evelyn, he replied. I don't deal with cleaning schedules. This isn't about cleaning, Sophia said, voice shaking but steady. It's about Michael's life. That made him look up. His eyes were sharp. Used to boardrooms, not backtalk from maids. What did you say? I took Michael to a public hospital, she blurted. We ran blood tests. He doesn't have leukemia. Not now. Maybe never. But something in his medicine is making him sick. Silence. The kind that presses on your ears. Then Robert laughed. A cold, disbelieving sound. You what? He asked. Do you have any idea what you've done? You kidnapped my son. You violated protocol. You. He laughed yesterday, Sophia interrupted, tears stinging her eyes. Really laughed. Without pain. Without weakness. Because he missed a dose of that life-saving pill. Robert's jaw clenched. From the doorway, Emma appeared, eyes wide with fake shock. Sir, she's unstable, Emma said quickly. She's confused him. Your son is vulnerable. You can't listen to. Sophia slammed the lab report on the desk. Read it, she said. Robert's eyes dropped to the paper. He read the numbers. The ranges. The normal values. The signature. City General Hospital. No, he muttered. This doesn't, Dr. Harris said. As if summoned, Dr. Harris walked in, adjusting his expensive cufflinks. Robert, I just got your message, what's? Sophia turned on him. You make millions off his treatment, don't you? She said. Private chemo. Exclusive programs. Donors writing checks with his face printed on their invitations. Dr. Harris smiled thinly. I understand emotions are high, he said. But you're a maid, not a doctor. Leukemia can go into temporary remission. It's complicated. Then why did another lab say he's completely healthy? Sophia shot back. Why do his symptoms flare after your pills? Why does your clinic charge triple the normal price while he's kept isolated upstairs like a golden prisoner? Robert's eyes were moving between the report and his son's recent memories. Michael laughing. Michael walking a few steps. Michael asking, Dad, what if I get better? Answer her, Robert said quietly. Dr. Harris's mask slipped for a moment. Be careful, Robert, he warned. You accuse me. You destroy your charity brand. The press will ask how the great Robert King let his son be misdiagnosed for years. Who will they blame more? The doctor? Or the father who never bothered to ask questions? Rich versus poor. Power versus truth. 4 years, Robert had bought comfort. Expert opinions. fancy clinics. But he had never bought the one thing his son truly needed. A voice that would fight for him. And that voice belonged to the maid he barely noticed. Robert looked at Sophia. Then, at the report. Then at the man who had controlled his son's life. Slowly, his shoulders dropped. "Get out," he said to Dr. Harris, voice low and dangerous. "Before I make sure you never work again." Dr. Harris scoffed. "You wouldn't." "I built this empire," Robert snapped. "I can burn it down if I have to. Now get out." Emma backed away. Evelyn hid in the hallway shadows. The rich structure of lies they had all lived inside began to crack. Later, Robert stood at Michael's bedside. No machines. Just a sleeping boy. Breathing easy. Sophia stood at the door, unsure if she should stay. "Why did you do it?" Robert asked quietly, without looking at her. "You could have lost your job. Your home." "Because I know what real sickness looks like," she said. "And I know what greed looks like too." Michael was trapped between both. Someone had to choose him. He turned, eyes wet. "I had all the money in the world," he whispered. "And I almost lost my son because I trusted everyone, except him." Downstairs, the charity banners were being taken down. The guests were gone. The cameras were off. Upstairs, in one small room, a boy was finally free to be more than his diagnosis. Have you ever noticed how often the people with the least power are the ones who see the truth first? If you were in Sophia's place, poor, ignored, and surrounded by experts, would you still risk everything to question them? Have you ever watched someone believe a lie just because it came from someone rich, powerful, or qualified? What did you do, and what do you wish you had done?